Hello, everyone, and welcome back to My Summer with Superman, the internet's only Superman podcast. I'm your super host, Jacob DeNoble, and with me, as always,
the other super host, Chris Haley. Hello there.
Hello. It's been a couple of weeks, but we've been reading a lot of Superman. We've been watching a lot of Superman.
Yeah.
It tends to be kind of our annual refrain.
It's true, though. I mean, honestly, since the movie came out, I have just I couldn't tell you the last time I felt. Now, and keep in mind who's saying this. When I say that, it's like I don't know if I've ever been more interested in engaging with like so much Superman content. I think that it's been really great for me doing this, where it's like where we are actually talking about some of these things, like that episode where we did the our sort of like core four for Superman, like really forced me to I saw to think about, to try to like really hone in on what my thoughts on some of these things are, like what I really feel about Superman.
Yeah.
I saw a Reddit thread today on the of course on the Superman Reddit, where somebody was talking about, oh shoot, what was it? They were talking about something with Superman. I don't know. But the thing they had said was like, I really liked this because it did this. And then, but the person was saying that they, weren't really up on a lot of Superman stuff. This is like the first Superman thing they'd really interacted with, where they were like, oh, I really like this because of X, Y, Z. And there was just a ton of people in there, not like yelling at them or anything, but just going like, yeah, that's like a lot of people that have that idea about Superman. It's like, it was kind of the thing of like, tell me you haven't read a lot of Superman stuff without telling me you haven't read a lot of Superman stuff. And hearing people talk about some of that stuff too was making me go like, yeah, this is what this has been like, where I have this like, for Superman has been here my whole life, has been like a big part of my life, my whole life. And having to actually, there's just this nebulous idea in my head of what Superman is and means to me. And having to do this and talk about some of these things and think about some of this stuff, it's interesting how it's forced me to kind of like really think about how I feel about these things and what is my actual stance on, should he do this? Should he do this? Can he do this? Does that break the character? Do you not like it when he does this? And then that's like made me want to like read and watch and all with stuff with like a much different through a different lens than I normally would.
You're just like, hey, it's my friend.
Exactly.
Look at him go.
There he goes. All right. But it's like, and with some of the stuff that, not only some of the stuff that I've been reading, which we're going to talk about, and some of the stuff that, especially, I want to talk about some of the stuff that you've been reading. Cause it's like, when you told me the three big things that you said you had like done lately, I was like, you have just set up like the perfect trifecta of like reference points that I want to get into talking about with like how you see it, or like having read this all so close together and so recently, what it what it's brought out for you.
Well, it's so fun. It's like, so we've read some comics and we watched the commentary for Superman, and those things together have really like awakened in me like, I miss the summer of Superman.
It's so hot here that I still feel like it's the summer of Superman.
See, for us, we're deep in mid-October. The leaves are off the trees. There's a chill in the air. It is nice. And like, I am fully in Halloween mode, but then there's like a back part of my brain that's just like,
tell people where they need to go for all of their Halloween needs.
Halloween-haven.net or creep-tv.net. And you'll find everything you need there. There's a live stream going on right now as we speak. Let's see what's
playing right now.
Let me tell you what's playing on the live stream right now. Right now, it looks like a Nickelodeon commercial of a kid trying on a bunch of for Spooky Goop. This is a 90s commercial for Spooky Goop, which is a makeup thing.
those words together just completely warmed my heart.
They tell you exactly what's going on there.
Yep. I've never heard a more like immediately evocative of like a time and play, like Nickelodeon commercials, spooky goop. I'm like, I feel like I'm 10 years old and it's Halloween.
But yeah, no, but like, so I've been reading some recent Superman stuff, and it has the Summer of Superman logo at the top, and I'm just like, God, remember when we were all just like real, like everybody is still into Superman, but like, I'm like, man, I wish I could just get in a time machine and just like go right back to that moment.
Man, yeah.
Maybe we'll have another one in 2 years when Man of Tomorrow comes out.
If the world's still here, I think we will get to have another Summer of Superman or Summer of Lex or Summer of whatever else is going on.
Summer of Supergirl next year's got to be fun.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, we got to watch Supergirl.
We do. Oh my God. Yes.
Now, I actually never seen the movie.
What? Oh my God. Well, hell yeah. The and there's like I feel like there's several different cuts of it.
Yes.
And I felt like at one point I had done what had to be like the definitive podcast on the Supergirl movie, because when I did Supergirl Gab, which started as like a Comics Alliance column, when we were where it was like talking about the Supergirl TV show, then that when Comics Alliance went under, we were like, we could turn this into a podcast, I think, instead of like trying to just keep it as a written thing. And I was like, I think that'll be a little bit easier to do anyway. But so we did a really long, I think it was probably 2-parter, and it was like, it felt like it was probably like 10 hours long of us talking about Supergirl. But it was definitely not that long. It only
based on our episodes, that tracks.
But yeah, so I was like, it would be interesting to like to go back and like I'll be interested to go see it, go back and see it again, and like see how it hits me now, and then compare that to how it, sort of how we felt talking about it back then, when the landscape for the character and just DC in general was like very different, because that was probably in like 2016, 2017, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
I'm trying to remember. It was like somewhere, it would have been somewhere around then. But.
Yeah, it would have been right around then. I'm just thinking in terms of my own life and breakups. I'm like, I was watching Supergirl at this house, so it had to be probably 2017.
Yeah. It's nice when you can put those kind of landmarks in things to go like, oh, I know right when that is in my brain. I
miss the CBS era of Supergirl. That season 1 of Supergirl,
where they had some money.
They had she
Callista
was a journalist.
Flockhart.
They had Callista Flockhart. Everybody wasn't part of the team.
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved those episodes.
I did.
Two was good, but then
I think it got. I'm trying to think when we like stopped doing it, because we stopped doing it before it ended. And I'm like, I'm not even sure why. Which is funny how those things happen too. Like, but I feel like I remember kind of liking once it got away from CBS. I liked that it was like less focused on. It seemed like they were trying to go, all right, this is on CW now. We know it's got to be more actiony, more superhero stuff, cheaper.
Yeah.
But you could see the limitations, and sometimes those limitations worked for it.
You know me, I love my workplace.
Yes. The
picture, workplace drama.
The picture is clearly being brought into focus of what you like in a Superman show.
It was like, what's her day job was like alien cop. I was like, I miss her,
Yeah.
I miss her as an assistant.
I think that was the kind of the thing is like on CBS, that was like more, it's literally just the difference in like what demographic they're trying to hit.
Yeah.
With a CBS primetime show versus something that's in the CW Arrowverse. Not that it wasn't in CBS too, but remember how it was like its own separate universe originally?
Oh yeah. That was so strange.
Yeah.
What an odd time.
We should go back. We could go back and watch some of that too.
I miss 22 episode seasons of superhero shows.
Well, speaking of, you got all the time in the world to watch 22 episodes, but you can't watch 8 episodes of Peacemaker or whatever.
That is true. Yeah, I have gotten no further in my Peacemaker.
You know what the difference is, though? It's like those 22 episode seasons. You can just have that on.
Yeah.
And you can like go, I don't have to like pay focused attention to this the entire time. It's like if you get distracted, if you got to leave the room or something, it's fine. But those like, shows where there's only a handful of episodes every season, you really feel like you got to be paying attention the whole time. You got to really be locked in to like, am I missing? Did I miss a vital clue? Did I?
And like, I get a full story with a 20, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not so much about like building.
I don't have the temperance or patience for that. Give me a beginning, a middle, and I want to see at the end, Supergirl does a thing, and then episodes where it's Merry Christmas, she saved the orphanage.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the thing you miss, but it also makes it feel like every episode feels like less. That's the thing I struggle with now, where I'm going like, if I'm going to devote some time to trying to watch something, like wanting it to sort of feel consequential.
Yep.
Where I'm going, I'm not wasting my time just watching something that this episode doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Even though I'm going like, you're watching a cartoon, you know, you're watching whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's something you lose, is that it's like, it doesn't feel like you can just kind of drop in and out whenever you want when you don't have as many episodes.
Yeah.
But it gives you that feeling of like, no, this is not a waste of my time, because all of this is going somewhere, when you feel like you have so precious little entertainment time, you know, leisure time.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's like, I feel like I haven't gone anywhere until that final episode, and I like check that show off my list.
I mean, now that's another way. Yes.
Like little bites where it's like, this is why I watch a lot of anthologies. Like I watched Tales from the Crypt, and I could just be like, I watched a Tales from the Crypt and I had a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess my letterbox brained now. Just like, can't log this, so what do I care?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly where I'm going. Like, there would be times where I was going like in the past where I would literally go, well, I don't have a website to log this on, or I could watch this thing that I know I'll be able to keep a track of.
Yeah.
And rate and do. There's something wrong with our brains.
It's that thing where they say that like experiences are now just anticipated memories.
Oh boy, that's bleak.
Yeah,
that makes me feel bad, but I get it too, though.
Yeah, that's why people are so like into documenting stuff. It's like we don't experience it in the moment. We're like, oh, I can't wait to post that and then look back on it.
I can't wait to watch these videos I took at the concert a year from now and remember what a good time I was having then.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could just be having more of a good time at the concert right now and enjoying that moment instead of going, well, I got to be quiet and hold the camera still.
So do we want to start? Where do we want to start?
Well, let's talk about the commentary real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
The interesting thing to me is it's like the last commentary of his that I listened to was the one for the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting hearing sort of like, you can tell he's in a very different place from that Suicide Squad commentary to now. And it's like I feel like he's still, you know, very forthcoming and he tells a lot of interesting things, but there's like a certain like level of candor that I think is in that Suicide Squad one.
Yeah.
Where he's, you know, he's like, you know, he's nothing to lose.
Yeah. Now he's his own boss.
Yeah. Right. And he knows that there's so much stuff there, so much of what he's doing and what he's talking about, because he's both the creator of this movie and the boss of the studio.
Yep.
And knows everything that's going on with everything else. That was like all stuff he did not have to worry about either within or with like the Guardians movies. Like he's got like, I think on the Guardians commentaries, he's not quite as open, but still more of like he's just a filmmaker.
There's also, I think, an element too where he knows that anything he says is going to get repurposed into content for the mill.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's talking about the decision to do like the Superman parents twist or whatever you want to call that, like you very much could feel him being like, okay, this is how I'm going to phrase everything and explain everything, because when this gets taken out into little bite-sized chunks.
Yeah. It's like you can hear the, there's just a little bit, he's being a little bit more careful with his answers with everything. And he's doing a lot. I mean, not that he didn't always do this in other, I think he's great for a commentary, and I really enjoyed this commentary. But it was also the kind of thing where it was like, there wasn't just a ton in it that I didn't feel like or that I felt like I didn't already know before. I hadn't already heard him say on social media or in one of the interviews or stuff like that. There was still some stuff, like there was
2.5 hours of special features we watched.
There was most of it was stuff where I was going like, oh, well, that wouldn't necessarily make like a good headline. But that's like really cool to learn. Like when you find out, like there was like just that so much more of this movie was practical.
Yeah.
Than I think you would guess just from watching it, and not just in like the physical things, but there's like I was absolutely stunned to learn that, at the beginning of the movie where he's flying back to Metropolis and he does the big whoosh through the ice, little gap. And then he's flying, and you get the thing of him just flying, right at the camera, and he's smiling, and it's like, oh my God, that's really him.
Yeah.
And then it does the thing where he's like sitting there flying, and then the camera like swoops down to in front of him.
Yep. To
see the S on his chest, and then that, comes out as that light. It, lights up, and then Superman, dun, 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 all of that. That's all real photography, like
a physical
camera move to get to that so perfect on that thing on his chest. And I just assumed that has to be just, it transitions to just CGI to get it that perfect. And it was like, he talks about on there that it's like, no, it was really hard to do. And like he credits the people that like, they basically built a special camera rig that could do that perfectly.
I love, he calls out the gaffers, and I wrote, I was just like, you never hear a director call out the gaffers on the commentary. I love that.
I love how many people, like, he gives a ton of credit all throughout this commentary. Also, I think part of the reason why I'm going, like, I don't know that I have that much to talk about from it. It's like, there's a lot of like little interesting things, but it is definitely the kind of thing where I would go like, it's a lot more fun to just hear it in the flow of the movie. I mean, there's stuff that we can talk about specifically, but I'm like, if you don't have the movie yet, they don't have the commentary on HBO Max, but you can get, we both got codes we should give away at some point. We can do that for Halloween. That'll be a treat with the tricks of what we've already got planned.
And then I want to let people know that if you did purchase this film anywhere other than iTunes, and you want to, or Apple TV, I guess is what it's officially called, and you want to get to the commentary, if you get a Movies Anywhere account and then link Apple TV as one of your things, it will import the commentary from there, regardless of where you've bought it.
You don't have to do that, though, to get it.
Oh, really? Is it just there?
It's just there on everything now,
Well,
it was an issue. It was no, it was like some kind of an issue where it seemed like it was only going to be on, like it was an Apple exclusive or something, and people were complaining because it was like apparently the Batman has like an Apple exclusive commentary with Matt Reeves, which I did not know that, and I was like, well, all right, I guess I've got to get that figured out.
I have to see that again.
I mean,
I didn't care for it in theaters, but
you can't say that right now because that's like a whole other. That's like a 2-hour conversation, which we will come back to then.
Yeah,
we will come back to this at a later point. Have you only seen it the once?
Yep.
Oh my God!
And maybe I was just in a bad mood. I always give myself that, like, maybe I just wasn't feeling it that day.
Wasn't feeling it that day. Yeah,
it was okay to me.
But yeah, it's like you can get it for less on digital now, but it's like get the you don't even, if you get anything that comes with the digital copy, it should have it with it now. There was some kind of thing that was holding it up, but then it eventually like unlocked on everything else like it was supposed to. I was losing my mind not being able to listen to it. Hearing that other people were getting to watch it. but yeah, so it's definitely worth listening to if you enjoyed the movie, if you want to get some great insights into sort of like why he picked some of the things and some of the stuff even where he's sort of like defending the decisions made of like, he's like, in the comics, most of the time Jor-El and Lara are benevolent. He's like, but not always, that's canon. And it's like just funny hearing him say some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He does. I appreciated that. He's like, he is, thanking people and giving a lot of credit just all throughout it. But I did notice, and I don't feel like I remember. I could just be misremembering it. It could be also that I've listened to this commentary more than once is why it's like jumping out to me. But that he, and part of this is like, I go, well, it's like on the one, it sort of starts to feel like something. My instinct is to go like, he keeps talking about how people that worked on the movie, the actors and people, like talks about them being his friends.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, and this is my friend John Cena who showed up for this part and did this and blah blah blah. He's like one of my best friends, and someone else is like, oh, and that's the person doing that voice is Palm Clemente, who you may know from the Mantis and Guardians, or from the Mission Impossible franchise. She's like one of my best friends from the Guardians franchise. Just all the stuff, and I'm going like, are these people all really his friends, or does he just think they're all his friends? It's like he seems like, but I also go like he's one of these guys who like he's been working with Michael Rooker and Nathan Fillion for so many years. Yeah, it's like so. And sometimes I feel like we have a tendency, well, maybe not everybody, but I feel like it's sort of a tendency to go like, this guy just keeps putting his buddies in movies. You know what I mean? And it's like, but also when he talks about that, he's got the rule for on set, especially with, like the rule, the number one rule for David Cornsweet was like, you can't be a jerk to anybody. If you're going to be Superman, you're going to be the middle, the person at the center of this big movie that we're trying to do. It's like, you've really got to be, and thankfully it seems like they picked the perfect guy, not just for the acting and everything, but for no one seems to have a bad thing to say about him other than that he can be annoying with asking too many questions.
I think I mentioned on the Guardians 3 commentary where he talks about his rule of no assholes. There was one noticeable person he doesn't mention as a good guy. So it could
be a coincidence. It could just be a total coincidence.
Vin is not there on the set. So like maybe he's just not thinking of him, but Bradley Cooper does get called out, but just
and of course, he talks about Bradley Cooper being in this too. It's a fun commentary, but it's like the thing of it. I also started thinking going like, if you could make movies with people that you already know are going to be cool, or that you already get along with, what they're like. It's like, why wouldn't you want to keep making movies with the same people where it's just, it would make movies are hard to make. Like I made a movie in college for like a film class. Yeah. And a no budget movie, a short thing, it was like 30 minutes or something, maybe.
What's it about?
It's about me deciding to kill myself because of some things that have happened. I did not write it or direct it. I was just I'm the main person in it, and I helped make. I guess I would be like I don't know what you even call it, like producer or something. Like I helped make sure. Yeah. I mean, it was me and one other guy. Yeah. Like, and there were other people involved, but we were the only two getting a grade on it. Yeah. And but I mean, even just making that as small as it was, as like tiny as it was, like such a headache. There's so many headaches and hassle. I mean, it was great fun. I loved getting to do it, but it's like everything. There's just so much stuff you don't even think of until it's like, oh, now this. And then I think about that on a $200 million movie or something.
And I think it's his low budget origins too, like where he's thinking of, I make movies with my friends. That's what I did in the Trauma days, and that's what I'm doing now. Like,
well, and it's like you just go, why wouldn't you want to make this situation that's going to be very difficult as pleasant as possible by surrounding yourself with people you already know, what they're like, you get along with them, they're going to understand what you're wanting from them. And I think that's like why he says on there that it's like this movie came in like under budget and like it didn't go over schedule and it came in under budget. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when it's like you're not having to waste a bunch of time dealing with people that you're not used to, like the learning curve of like getting used to these new people or teaching them sort of like what he talks about that in there too, his like shorthand, like with his DP and like with camera people and stuff like that, where it's like they already kind of know the kind of stuff he's talking about, because they have this established relationship. And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you try to make stuff with your friends? But I'm like, it seems like a lot of your friends are really famous people. Really attractive, famous people.
I want to flag something that he brings up that I think is applicable to our show. When he's talking about the origin controversy, he says, I don't want to change integral things about Superman. And then he lists 4 things. So to me, I'm saying we get kind of James Gunn's core 4.
Oh, yeah? So I remember him. I vaguely remember him saying something about that when I was literally listening to this earlier today. Trying to make sure I had some good notes on it.
So his core 4 are goodness of heart, won't kill, in love with Lois Lane, and a curl.
I don't remember the curl part, but I do remember that part with Lois jumping out at me, and I was like, oh yeah. So I know someone else who mentioned something about that.
I think that's very, those 4 feel very in line with our core 4s.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's part of why, like, without even knowing it, we hadn't even had that conversation when we saw the movie for the first time. And it's like, but I think that does go a long way to explaining like why this one resonates with us so much.
Yeah. And I still am just so impressed with how good of a sense of his character and Lois Lane's character that he has.
Go ahead.
I just, whenever he's talking about like who Clark is as a person, I'm always like, this is you are both surprising me a little bit, but also telling me exactly like what I believe that this character has always been.
One of the ones that jumped out at me listening to it today was the part where that when they're having that the interview scene where he's saying that like he was talking about how, and it's all there on the screen. He's not giving you anything new information wise, but it just made me think about it a little harder. Cause obviously I'm watching this movie. My focus is Superman, I can't help it. I'm basically in every scene. I'm just kind of, and in that scene, I'm going like, I'm watching Superman be frustrated by the situation. And I'm like, and Superman's feeling like, why are you being like this? And I'm thinking, Lois, why are you being like this? That's Superman. And it's hard for me to not kind of just look at it that way, but he's talking about how, after he said this, I was like kind of thinking through the whole movie and going, wow, yeah, this really, it makes sense. And it makes it better then at the end when that he's saying Lois likes him. And Lois, is attracted to him and whatever. And like, she doesn't think he's like fake.
Yeah.
But she's like, she can't let herself fully believe that he's really just this good.
Yeah.
That he really is this like selfless and just wants really all, because no one knows anyone that's like, well, not no one, but there's people because the first thing I thought of is like, I thought of someone I know who I'm like, this guy, so that's someone, and I'm fortunate to know several people where I'm like, they do seem like just truly like good people that are just always going to try their best to make the good decision, make the right best decision they can.
Yeah.
And I'm not naming any names, but but some of them are probably listening to this.
Some of them may be podcasting this.
But when he was saying this, like she can't believe it. She can't let herself believe that he really is who he is.
And that's it's not such a good Lois too.
Yes, yes. But I'm not, watching it. I'm not thinking about it like that. I'm thinking about it like I love Superman. Why aren't you loving Superman as much as I do right now? And but then then that makes it that scene later when they're in Smallville and she's seeing like, oh no, she's already kind of starting to like the wheels are starting to turn. But she's not wanting to, when she goes to like, all right, I'm going to go try to get these guys to get the Justice Gang to help.
Yeah.
And then they go through all of that stuff. And then it's like, she sees what he goes through to get to that point. But then getting him to Smallville and then actually just putting the whole picture together finally, which is like, actually, I mean, and that's the big thing that James Gunn says is that you don't really know him. It's not that he's Clark or Superman. You don't really know him unless you know
both sides.
Both.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's such a, which also, I mean, and that plays into the thing that, part of James Gunn's take on Superman is that there is this like outsider feeling to him no matter what.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's such a big deal that it's like, that then someone he has let in like her does, and the Justice Gang as well, when they're like, they are spurred to be better because of him.
Yeah.
Like the people that sort of actually know who he is. You got to have both of those things to know who he really is.
Yeah.
And so then like, as she's starting to see that and then gets there and just that's when the whole picture comes. And that's why I'm still like, I can't believe they cut out that scene she's like, where she's like, I'm going to get you out of this. Like, yeah. I got goosebumps just thinking about that. Like, it's so perfect. I cannot believe they cut that out. Cause it's perfect Lois as well as being like great just in the movie. But, that like really makes that scene where she's seeing what his parents are like and seeing how they treat it and all this stuff. And she's like, oh, this is so different from both her childhood and, this is not what she's, that he is who he says he is. And then it's like what allows her to be like, not only to just, be totally on his side, but to like let herself feel safe enough to then, all the other stuff that happens.
I think one of the things that I love about Lois and Clark as concepts, as like people in a relationship,
the characters, not the show specifically.
Yeah. I know it's usually the show when I say that word, but is that like they are two characters who, because of their fundamentally different backgrounds, approach the world very differently, but in the same direction.
Yeah.
Where, Lois is fighting for truth, justice, and the American way, the same way Superman is, or Better Tomorrow, or whatever we want the third one to be nowadays. And there is an element to Superman who, because he is invulnerable, that allows him to be trusting.
Mm-hmm.
When you're the most powerful man in the world, it is okay for you to always believe in second chances for people.
And to approach situations with open arms as opposed to with your fists.
And someone like Lois doesn't necessarily have that luxury.
Yeah.
There is a risk to doing that. And I think Clark can almost be too trusting and Lois can be too closed off, and they both need each other to like find that middle ground. And I love that. I love that synthesis of these people who are both do-gooders, but when they are together, they fill in the shades that the other one is missing just through the necessity of background.
Yeah, man. Great movie. Great characters.
Great. Oh, man.
The real dynamic duo.
Let's hear only other thing I want to say about this commentary is that it is very odd and interesting to me. Lois's license plate says Delaware, but it is not the Delaware license plate.
Because it's not the same Delaware.
Yeah, I'm just flagging that. I'm sure I have beef with Metropolis and Delaware. Always have, always will. I think it's very stupid, but whatever. It's on a map that they drew in the 70s, and James Gunn is accepting it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make, but well, of course, I mean, it goes along with the. There's so much that he talks about that in that commentary too, about how this is like, the first time where it really does feel like a big full comic book universe you're just being thrown into the middle of, where there's all these things that are different and they don't spell it all out for you, and you just.
I would accept it more in Ohio. If they were to say Metropolis is in Ohio, it is the state that birthed Superman. I can buy Ohio having a major metropolitan center in a way that Delaware just does not track for me. A city the size of New York would span the width of Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
It would bisect the state. Well, it's unacceptable to me.
The Delaware there is bigger. Their Delaware is bigger.
What are you taking the space from? Maryland? My home state?
No, it's just there's more land.
Okay, Lex Luthor from Superman Returns. That did remind me when you're talking about like how all of the Superman, like almost all of the Superman footage is like actual footage of David Corn Sweat doing things.
Yeah.
It just reminded me so much of Superman Returns and their bad digital double Superman.
Boy,
and just like the digital double technology has advanced so far, but they're like, you know what? No, let's not even touch that because we've seen.
Well, I don't know if we've talked about it, but there is one shot now, having seen the movie so many more times. Oh my God, dude. I also got to watch it in 4K for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, I've seen this movie in IMAX. I've seen it at the giant planetarium giant screen at the Pink Palace thing I told you about.
Yeah.
I've seen this on a bunch of different sizes and types of screen and projection here in the greater Mid-South area. But man, I was watching this thing and I was just going, I cannot believe I can sit here and just see people's pores.
Yeah.
Like, or I was going, this is so wild. Like, to go from watching it in like HDX, which is what it went up to, was the highest it could go up to before, like at home.
Yeah.
To now seeing it in 4K and just sitting there going like, I can count the individual little stubble like on Lex Luthor's lip from where he has shaved that morning. And I was just like, this is wild. How much more? And there was points where I was watching it going, oh, I like having seen this so many times. There's a part where when they're in the the stasis cages in the pocket universe, there's a point in there where the camera is, and I'd never noticed this before, but it was like, oh, I can see how many rows down.
Oh yeah.
Underneath the floor, where I could see people walking there that I had never noticed before. And not that like they probably weren't there, but they didn't just like, it was so sharp that I could see it so clearly. It was,
can't wait to get this disc.
So yeah, it's definitely, and it's kind of, or in like in that opening bit, just seeing how sharp the texture is of like how I'm not normally like a person that's like, so, whatever. Cause I like watching stuff where it's like, oh, someone digitized this off a VHS tape, where it's like, and it just feels so cozy. Like I'll watch that kind of stuff on YouTube and whatever, where it's like old things. And I love that. And I don't feel like you haven't seen the movie if you've only seen it on VHS or something. But man, just it really just kind of took me aback. I was standing, I went from sitting watching it to where I was just standing in front of the TV with my mouth open at like how much stuff I could see.
This has been my favorite home media generation.
Yeah.
Like 4K. The leap from Blu-ray to 4K to me has just been so... I watch movies as if I've never seen them before.
It feels a little bit
I'm
like,
so delighted by it.
I think the first Blu-ray that I watched where I had that moment of like, oh my God, look at this.
Yeah.
Just that jump from DVD to Blu-ray was The Third Man.
Oh yeah.
Which is, I mean, oh my Lord, what a great movie. But it's all the fact that it was like the first time I'd only seen like a little bit of it before from a VHS. and it was like a VHS that was like $2 at Walmart. It was like a very bad, like just, what. And I was like, yeah, this looks so old. I'm not watching this. This movie's boring.
Yeah.
And then seeing it in that Blu-ray, I was like, this looks like this seems brand new.
Yeah.
It's it was like the Criterion version of The Third Man on Blu-ray. And it was like, I couldn't believe how good it looked. And this felt like that same kind of a jump for a movie that is brand new, but that I've seen so many times. And it's still like that. I could still notice a difference.
For me, there's something about like the specular highlights in HDR of like, especially like if I'm watching a movie from the 90s that like instantly makes my mind remember what it was like to like see movies on 35 millimeter back when everything like I'm instantly put back into like the mall Cineplex that I would get, and I'm just like, yes, this Starship Trooper, like this feels emotionally to me like what I felt like.
It keys into that then. the freshness of it then
in a way that like Blu-ray looked great, and in my head I'm like, this looks fantastic. To me now I'm like, that is a Blu-ray look that is distinct from the actual look of the film when it was a film.
Yeah.
I don't know. 4Ks, I'm just so in.
We could get into a whole different conversation about that though, because that is a whole other thing of like where it's like part of the reason for that is like the things that studios chose to do in trying to make Blu-ray and trying to make stuff look new and whatever. And like, so it does. It's funny to think that like, we'll look back on some of this and be like, oh, it has the Blu-ray look of the 2010s and early 2020s or whatever.
Have you heard the Star Wars leaked news?
Whoa. I'm listening. As I try to put the headphones on even tighter. Go on.
There's apparently a restoration underway of the unaltered.
They're waiting for him to die.
Star Wars. No, I think it's for the 50th anniversary next year.
Oh, wait. 77. No, so
2 years.
Okay.
But somebody accidentally like auto uploaded them to like YouTube in a way. Like the script also got auto uploaded so people could see like what code they accidentally put in.
Yeah.
And it's like clips of the original trilogy, the unaltered versions, and these are like very clearly not the scans that they've been using for anything else. These are not the fan scan. Like these are.
Yeah. This is not the. Oh shoot! What is that one called? There's like a couple famous
Despecialized, the 4K 77.
Yeah, 4K 77 I think was the other one I was trying to think of.
Yeah, so it's neither of those, but this is it seems like an official Lucasfilm scan and restoration of the original trilogy.
Color me interested.
Yeah, I have not bought Star Wars on home media since VHS because I'm just like, I'm not going to buy a special edition. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to do it.
Well, I am the other direction of that where I'm like, what? I'm not going to buy Star Wars. I'm not going to buy every new version of Star Wars they put out. Oh man. Oh, just like we were talking about earlier though, before, I guess technically we were recording, but I don't think it'll be in the episode. We were talking about how susceptible I am to having the TV convince me that something is a big deal. I didn't need much convincing of this, but I don't know if you remember when right before the special editions came out, they did this
one last time.
Yes. Oh, the
Leonard Maltin intros.
That is just burned into my brain from that commercial where it's like, you've got to get these because they're going away forever. And it's one last time.
And you know what? They were fucking right.
Yeah, I mean,
like normally that is bullshit. But like this time, yeah. I would not have guessed that 25 years later I wouldn't be able to buy Star Wars.
But I'm also the person that was like, I was watching Star Wars on the VHSs that I had taped off of the USA when they made such a big deal of like, we're going to show the entire Star Wars trilogy. And I had, I went and I bought special, like the highest quality VHS tapes I could find.
Oh man. Yeah.
Just to like, these are going to be, and I had like, I did little drawings on the labels to like try to make it look more Star Warsy and all that kind of thing. And this is right up my alley. I will say though, it's like, it's the thing where I was going here in this last generation was the one where I was going, I don't have to get that right now. It's not like where I was going. I mean, I of course eventually get the stuff, but it was like the Blu-ray one was the one where I was going, do I really need to? I don't have to hurry this up. Yeah. There's going to be around, but that would be the kind of thing where I would be, day one. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about how I got back into Star Wars after I got out of Star? So,
well, first let me ask why you got out of what got you out of Star Wars?
The prequels.
Okay.
So like I was a big Star Wars kid.
Yeah.
Star Wars. I have a letter published in Star Wars Insider magazine.
I'm sorry I couldn't react to that. I was taking a drink. My face made a reaction to it, though. I was like, "Oh my god, that's incredible!" What did you say?
It was like, why does Luke say that it's not like I like the Empire, I hate it when he's trying to go to the Imperial Academy? What sense does that make? And they're like, well, the Academy provides you like different opportunities. It's not a direct one-to-one stormtrooper camp the way that. But anyhow, so like, I was into the prequels as they were coming out. Yeah. I was, I'm younger, so like Revenge of the Sith came out when I was, I think, a senior in high school.
Okay.
And like after that, though, I was just like kind of done. I'm just done.
You're like, I'm Star Wars'd out.
Like I have so much knowledge of the expanded universe that I don't really like. Then in college, I got really stoned and watched the first Star Wars movie, and it unlocked it as a 1977 science fiction film.
Oh, wow.
So it unlocked the version of Star Wars that has no relationship to anything else, which is really the only way I can appreciate it now. Like I have to dump my mind of every expanded, like
all the other stuff you know.
I don't want to know the word Corellian. I don't want to know that Princess Leia has a last name because it doesn't show up in the movies.
That's true.
Like, I want to, like, when you watch other 70s science fiction movies and then compare it to Star Wars, you're just like, I'm able to put myself in that mindset.
Can I tell you something that this is like speaking directly to that kind of thing? So there was a really special time for me in this. There was this like little window of time between in like the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Where it was like, it's been long enough without a new Star Wars movie that it's like everyone knows what Star Wars is, but it is definitely like a thing where it's like, if you're into Star Wars, it's looked like it's seen as like a nerdy thing in the same way that Star Trek is, or was back then. I think it probably still is to some extent, but it's also like content is so vast now that it's like, it feels hard to imagine people being like too up in the air about like whatever thing you're into, because it's like
it'd be like being really into Tron.
Well, oh boy, we could talk about some Tron stuff too. But there was this period where it had been so long since there had been like a real Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like all there were these like books and comics and video game, this stuff, but where it was all this like stuff that wasn't actual Star Wars. It was like things around that. And then a turn happened where you could tell, like, they knew, I mean, we didn't know this at the time, but they knew what they were doing, which was they were trying to prime the pump for the public's interest in Star Wars. Because they knew they were going to be doing the special editions, and Lucas knew that he was wanting to do new movies, but we didn't know any of that stuff yet. So there was this like period in like in the mid 90s where I'm still like really young. I still have these vivid childhood memories of Star Wars, but it's also Star Wars exists sort of as a like with Superman. It's like a thing that's sort of been around my whole life. So it's like, I have this like idea of it, but I'm not like, it's not like I know every second of it. I don't know every detail. I'm so into it, like as a concept and as like a thing that I love, but I don't feel like, and it's also like just the way culture was. It's like, I don't feel like to be into this, I have to know everything about it or prove I know everything about it. And there's not people arguing with me about it.
Yeah.
The only person that's arguing with me about it is like one or two of my friends. and we're all on the same page, where it was like this. So the Star Wars stuff that I was getting was like trading cards with like just little bits of information on them. And I bought a Star Wars screensaver. Back when you had to buy a screensaver, back when, but I bought this Star Wars screensaver that I would just sit there and watch because it had several different settings you could do for it. And one of them was ones where it would bring up these like sort of character profiles and like text would just slowly come across the screen of like, here's information about Obi-Wan Kenobi that you've never heard before. Or, or some of it is stuff, but some of it is stuff like, I knew that he and, what happens with him and Anakin on Mustafar, from that thing long before, a decade before that movie happened. And it's crazy to know, like, going into that, like, are they really going to do this like it was in that screensaver?
Yeah.
And, but there was like that kind of thing. And then they started, I think it was probably in like 95, they put out new Star Wars figures. The Power of the Force line was what it was called. And last weekend, there's like a hobby, like a collectibles place, a new one here in town I went to, and they had for $5, looks like it's brand new from like off the peg at Walmart in 1995, the Power of the Force C-3PO. It was only $5 and it just looks brand new. Like something like they brought it here in a time machine. And I was like, this fills me with so much like potent nostalgia based happiness that it's like, because it's just this very specific time of Star Wars where it hadn't become a big thing again yet.
Yep.
But it's like those of us that were into it were just like, oh my God, Star Wars is existing more.
Yeah.
And it goes along within that when they did that last set of the VHSs.
Yeah.
And then it just really, basically everything from like, 92, 93 until 99 when the prequels happened. That's like, or really till like 97 when they started doing the special editions. That little window is like the happiest I've ever been, I feel like, in like my love of Star Wars, where it has the most like happiness to me.
This is relatively similar to kind of what we were talking about before we started recording. For my birthday, and actually I think this ties into what I talked about last week with Beetlejuice Mortal Kombat Annihilation in that Pokemon shirt, because I'm remembering now why I had the money. For my birthday, my mom had gotten me this Star Wars CD-ROM that was like behind the scenes. It had the deleted scenes on it. It was like this mid-90s thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have a computer. I don't know what she thought it was, but so I was like, love this, Mom. I can do nothing with this. And I think we took that to Suncoast, returned it, and that's why I had like a budget.
All right. Nice.
But, yeah.
Wow.
This isn't a Star Wars podcast.
No, it could be, but
I told you what my Star Wars is, right? This is all I accept as canon.
Okay.
Original trilogy, holiday special, Marvel's 70s and 80s Star Wars comics, and The Last Jedi. To me, that is Star Wars. No, not Dark Horse. Dark Horse is shit. Only because Dark Horse is part of that, canonized EU that bugs me. Like, when I read a Star Wars thing, I want the people writing it to be like, I don't know what any fucking alien is called. I'm just going to make it up. I don't want there to be a little nerd keeping track of what everything is.
Yeah.
So those four movies, the holiday special, and the Marvel comics.
That's some good Star Wars. For my money, that would be a good set of... If that's all Star Wars was, that would be great. I mean, but also to me, I'm like, if the special editions had never happened, and the prequels never happened, none of this, Disney didn't buy it, none of this, if it had just stayed the things that it was up till that point, basically, I still would have been happy liking Star Wars for the rest of my life. And it is wild to be. We don't have to. Let's stop talking about.
That's all right. Yeah,
it'll get depressing if we go too far.
Should we go into our Superman?
Let's go into some comics, and because I got to ask you about this now.
Okay,
you told me that just recently here you reread Superman Birthright for the first time in quite a while
since college.
So, oh wow, okay, so it's been a minute. One, how did you feel about it then?
I liked it then.
And how do you feel about it now?
I liked it now.
See, only it liked though.
It's not my favorite Superman origin.
Okay.
There are elements of it that I do love and wish and like probably carry over in my mental concept of Superman.
Yeah.
I love him as a world traveler before he lands in Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
But Lois and Clark did that first.
Didn't John Byrne do that first?
Did he?
I think that's part of the deal with the Byrne stuff. I mean, now keep in mind this is all fuzzy in my head, you know. Like,
you don't see it the way that you see it in Birthright.
No, you
don't.
I
love seeing it in Birthright,
but it's like the way that when Lois shows up at his house for the thing that his apartment for the thing that they're going to, and he's got like the weight set and stuff.
Yeah.
I think to me, it's like that all goes in my mind. And there's like little one-off mention, or it's like in Lois and Clark. But I mean, Lois and Clark is basically just that Byrne era. To me, it feels like that.
Yeah. It's inspired
triangle.
By that take.
Yeah. That's very much what it's going from.
I will say I was really taken by this time, and I don't know if I was last time, Lionel Francis Yu's art. I thought was amazing this time.
Oh,
around.
Yeah. No, okay. So for me, Birthright is like the thing that it would be the thing I would pick to give to anyone to go like, this is why Superman's great.
Yeah.
Gives you everything you need to know in a way that even though now it's like 20 years old or something or more, it still feels fairly modern.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like super outdated yet. And a big part of that is because his art still feels very like fresh and dynamic.
Yeah. The dynamism of it is so, I think before I was like, I liked the storytelling of it, but I was like, maybe Superman looks like he doesn't look the way that I would think of Superman.
Yeah,
but I don't know what I was thinking before because it's
top to
bottom fantastic. I was a fan too.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever read Silent Dragon? It was like a 7-issue miniseries by Andy Diggle. And
was it like an Image book?
I think so. Maybe.
Are you sure that's what it was called?
It's definitely called Silent Dragon.
Okay. Because I remember some book like that. But that name did not jump out at me.
Let's see here. Who published this? Wildstorm.
So Image. Or wait, no, I guess it could have been. It was after DC. Was it before or after the DC?
This is like 2006.
Oh, geez. Okay, so it's later than I'm thinking of. All right.
I don't know. It's probably not good.
but his art is great.
I remembered really liking it when it was coming out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Lionel Francis Yu." But I remember thinking like, his art seemed to fit that story more, because it's like a weird like Japanese future. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Do you remember, having just read it? Do you remember if Dave McCaig did the colors for it for Birthright, not for?
I don't remember.
Well, whoever did the colors for that book was the perfect person to pair with Lionel Yu, because there's because he'll draw like really like lined up, like very like detailed, not really detailed, but it's like really lined up faces and like extreme close-ups and this like crazy looking technology and like really like over the top posing, but it all still feels sort of grounded in reality.
Yeah.
And the colors like match that, but it's also like the colors have like it's done in a way that's not like the other comics that were being digitally colored at that time. Yeah. And it's like where the red and the yellow and the blue of Superman's outfit, every time he shows up in that, every time when that you see those, like it's almost like those colors are nowhere else in the comic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like every time you see them, they really stand out as so like Superman.
Yeah. It's a very orange comic in my mind.
Yes. Or
I
orange
think,
and yellows.
I think what the art does, I think very well, is it has that Frank Quitely like amazing ability to have a like pick the perfect snapshot in time to sell motion.
Yeah.
Like both quote unquote camera motion, like everything that you're seeing is so dynamic, but not in like a kind of 90s, like, kind of way. It's like you take this completely still moment, but in your mind, it sells you everything that happened. You feel
like you have seen it happen. Yeah. You feel like you see the motion of happening. It's funny because I would not, even though you're absolutely right, the two of them both do that so well, but because their styles are so different, it's like, until you said that, I could not see that comparison.
Yeah.
And then you say it, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Which is interesting. It's like, because I think about like All-Star and Birthright. I've read both of those so many times.
Yeah.
And it's like, but even now, it's new things.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted to ask you a bunch of questions about all this. When you said that this is what you had read.
I love how, like, I think there's a part of it that's like, this is very nakedly, people are really into Smallville. We need to create a origin story of Superman that we can hand people who are into Smallville. And then,
I mean, they both,
but it's not Smallville.
It's not Smallville. And it's like, it's the big thing they took was like, Superman's got to be hot.
And I think part of it though is they pick Mark Waid, who is like, I want to restore that Lex and Superman were boyhood friends.
Well, they would pick the guy that's like Johnny DC, the most DC guy, the biggest, like, I mean, I just feel like I have known for so long that like Mark Waid loves Superman.
Yeah. There is a tiny part of me that is, and I think it's just the knowledge that he really did not care for the Byrne redo. Mm-hmm. That like part of it feels to me like this is him being like, well, let me fix all the things this guy broke with my guy.
Yeah.
But it's so well done. Like, I don't really care. And like, I think it's certainly a better, like, hand this to somebody. It is a story than like Man of Steel, which is just 6 snapshots in time over like, you know, a couple of
like,
year.
Really, yeah. That Man of Steel miniseries is really more like, it's all like, I mean, it's enjoyable for sure. Like, and there's certainly, I think that's the kind of thing you could give to someone with like limited knowledge of Superman, and like you could get good stuff out of it. It could be enjoyable, but it's like, it's really just trying to like it's doing a lot of table setting for then what's going to happen in the actual comics.
It's essentially saying, all right, what are 6 things we want to say about Superman? Each one of those things gets an issue. So it's like, all right, Superman and Batman's first meeting. I want to make sure I have that. So bam, there's an issue. Like the time Superman pissed off Lex Luthor for the first time. Okay, bam, there's an issue. Like each one of those.
The problem for me too is that it's like all of that, like both that miniseries and then what immediately follows it, all just kind of like squishes together in my brain.
Yeah.
Where I don't think I have the clearest picture of what actually happens when. Because there's parts of it where I would go, oh, well, that definitely happened in Man of Steel. And then I pull up the issue that it happens in or whatever, you know, or I find the issue and it's like, oh, wait, no, this was in the regular book, you know, like 6 months later. Okay, wait, so Superman Birthright, the first 8 issues of Grant Morrison's Action Comics for the New 52 relaunch.
Yep.
And then amazingly, we both how much we both got.
I am current. Totally caught up on Josh Williamson's
I am as well.
Superman run.
But where did you just start from 1 to 30 or
no? I had dropped off in January of this year.
Okay.
My finances changed this year, so I dropped buying new comic books from my budget.
Right.
So I was like, all right. So I was like, I was like, as we were talking, I was like, I want to read Birthright. I was like, I'm just gonna start paying for DC Infinite again.
Yeah.
And then once I did, I was like, I'm gonna pay for DC Infinite Ultra because I kind of want to read the
I'm just laughing.
DCKO
I had the same conversation with myself earlier this week where I was going, it's only $5 more. Well, what's interesting is like, so I just reread like the day before you told me that you had gotten current on it. It was like, I think literally the day before I had read 25 through 30 to get me caught back up, which I'd already read everything up to that. And I had read 25 before. Yeah. But I was just like, that's like a good, where things take a turn. I was like, let me just start there and get caught up. So this combination of 3 books seemed like, I mean, and I don't know if you were picking them like this on purpose, but to me seemed like the perfect, trifecta of like post 2000 takes on Superman that seem like, to me, maybe like, I mean, you could throw the Jeff Johns one in there.
Yeah, that one I actually have not read. The Secret Origins. Yeah.
You guys couldn't see the face I made, but it's like Gary Frank's art is great, but I really don't care. It's got good stuff in it. I think Jeff Johns did some great Superman stories and issues and moments in his run of when he was doing action. I actually read not that long ago, and I think he was one of the writers on. Yeah, he was, because his name's the biggest at the top of the thing. The Ending Battle trade, which is the follow up to What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. Where you don't know that that's what's happening, but it's where Manchester Black returns. To get his revenge on Superman, and that was one I read it when it was coming out here and there, but like, just I don't know. And I'd had that trade for forever, and I'd probably read it once in there. I don't know. It's just like something about, but I really enjoyed it a lot more this time.
Okay,
Now I'm in a different phase of my Superman enjoyment this year, where I'm looking at things with a different, it's both. It's more critical in some ways, but it's also like more sort of loving and forgiving in other ways.
Broader.
Yeah, it's just but so that's why I'm also enjoying taking in a lot of different things. I'm watching the 88 Superman cartoon, and then following it.
That so bad.
I'm telling you, man. I see. That's when I asked you about that like a couple weeks back. I was going, it's on sale. I don't want to force you to buy this, but I also kind of wanted to force you to buy it because I was like, I want to watch some of these and talk about them, because I've been watching that, and then seeing I'd watch an episode or 2 of that, and then follow it with some of the animated series from '96. And, and sometimes it's stuff with like similar, the same characters, and seeing how they're approached at different way, blah, blah, blah. But my point is, I think that Birthright, Grant Morrison's Action Comics, especially that opening salvo is so good. Yeah, like that. And then now with this Williamson thing, Josh Williamson is someone who has definitely written some comics that I enjoy. I really liked. Flash is the main thing I can think of off the top of my head. But I found myself, because I was really excited when what was it? Was it Rebirth? When that new Superman book started?
Yeah, so it was Rebirth with like Jurgens.
Oh, okay. So what's the
and
one?
Then the Bendis run happened.
Yeah, no. After
and
that.
Then the Philip K. Johnson War World stuff.
Which
led into Williamson.
I've got think we can talk about all that. What was this last?
All In?
No, that's too.
That's too
current, because it's like 2023 was when that book started. Whatever the DC publishing initiative was in 2023, whatever the name of that one is, that new Superman book started with, where it's got him big flying on the cover, like the
Dawn of DC.
Dawn of DC. Thank you. So it's all orange behind it. This Metropolis is so orange, and Superman's flying. I was like, they're ready for that day one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's so it's like I like the art. And I'd like had kept up with it for the most part, especially then once Dan Morris started drawing it. I was like, I'm happy to read anything he draws.
Yeah.
Including the new Transformers book he just started. I'm happy to see. I'm curious to see how that turns out. But it was like I was not finding I was like, it had things that I liked, but I was also just like I it's not like I think he was writing a bad Superman. But I was just not enjoying the stories so much, like from month to month.
That is exactly kind of my take on that run.
It felt like it's always just like kind of treading water, setting things up, like letting you think that something's going to happen, but it's really like kicking the ball like a little bit further down, kicking the can a little further down the road to go like, this is going to be something. I'm setting this up. But reading a bunch of it. So where did you, when in getting caught up, what did you read from?
All right.
Do you remember what issue it was?
I started with just pulling up what Superman volume is this?
Oh boy, I don't know. I just do 2023 to try to find it. It's got to be. I don't even know.
Yeah. I started with the like time trapper doomsday stuff.
Oh, okay. So that's like in the 21, 22 somewhere.
Yeah, it was pretty recent.
Okay.
Which I feel like part of my like bouncing off the overarching stories in this run have been like, I am just so not in tune with whatever is going on in the DC world as a whole. So
yeah,
like, I'm not reading dark metal or any of that. So like,
or night terrors
or absolute power. And like, this book is so into that,
steeped in all of that. It's forced to, I mean, there's no choice. There's no, I think that's probably why a lot of the actual, like the narrative of the story that's actually trying to be told, that when you've read it all like this, you can go, oh, I see where he's wanting to do this. He's wanting to do this, but it keeps seeming like time is being taken away from these stories that he's trying to tell.
Yeah.
By, we got to deal with this for 2 months. Now we got to do this for 2 months.
But I enjoy the like overall milieu. That's what like character work so much that I keep coming back to. Like, I liked the Superwoman stuff. I thought that was a lot of fun. I like Super Core as like a concept. I'm loving the art.
I mean, I could
Superman and Lex kind of being forced to team up, and now that like crumbling and falling apart. I've really enjoyed all of that.
Yeah, like all of the taking it all in the problem was that I was reading it month to month. Yeah. And it's like, unfortunately, I don't think it reads great month to month.
Yeah.
For how slight some of the issues feel, where it's like, oh, this art's incredible, but it's like the whole, half of this issue was like one fight / argument. Like where two things are where he's both having to argue about something with Lex or whatever, while there's also a fight going on, or there's like, but seeing it from a broader scope, I guess, is made it maybe. But then by the time we get to this most recent thing, which is still tying in with big events, but it seems because he's writing those big events, it seems like much more focused in a way where I'm going, oh, the stuff that's happening in the book is setting up the stuff in this, but it all feels of a piece as opposed to being sidetracked.
Yeah, I was helped by, I read DCKO #1 like first.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
And then I like went back and started reading stuff, and I'm like, okay, now that like I know where this is going, I'm fine with these I'm fine seeing Booster Gold, and like I know what this is all leading to. Whereas if I was reading it without that context, I'll just be like, I don't really understand this. I'm just gonna kind of read it and keep going.
Yeah. I think that probably does color it, in that I did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But completely coincidentally. And I just was like, after I read that DCKO, I was like, yeah, I should get caught up on this Superman business.
Man, we're in sync.
But so I think having read, being like kind of caught up on that now, I do feel like it's a really good, and that's my problem with it was never that I didn't think it was like a good take on Superman, because I think he does write a good Superman. The problem was that it's just like he's not getting to do enough.
Yeah,
I guess is like the easiest way to say that. But so you've got Birthright at like 2001. You got Action, the Grant Morrison's Action at 2011.
Yeah,
and now this 2023 to 2025, and that I think that those three together, yeah, right.
I didn't realize that I had really kind of decaded it out,
but it's like those. I feel like make a very interest, like a very like. I think the best way you could kind of like study what Superman is in the 20th century, especially like through the lens of that we've been talking about this movie so much, and like we've spent so much time thinking about this movie and thinking about what Superman is to us.
Yeah.
And so it's like I was trying to like, as soon as you said that those were the three that you've done, I was like, I can't believe you've picked like the perfect things for this. Where it's like, and so what I was kind of wanting to ask you, having just read them all recently. Oh, I mean, I've got a bunch of questions I could ask you, but I don't know how much time we have. Like, what do you feel like stands out to you about these three as like sort of a post 2000s, as Superman is continuing, but also changing and evolving, sort of like what is expected of Superman? And I would venture to say that it's almost like the 2025 version of Superman, the most modern version in the Superman comics, almost feels more, while feeling both like evolved and like growing and everything else. And I think that those other ones play into that. It's like he almost feels like he's becoming more of his Silver Age self.
Yeah.
He's becoming bigger as the sort of like as the time calls for him to need to be bigger.
Yeah.
But what do you see as like, what stands out to you as common and different in those three, in that triangle?
So I think there is an element. I mean, so part of it is two of the three are origins.
Mm-hmm.
They are inherently updating Superman for what they think like the current day needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Morrison does such a great job going back to the core of what that character was when he was created,
mm-hmm.
and updating that. Like, that's very much the mission that
the Morrison quote where they were like, there's only been one Action Comics #1 before.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of other #1s of stuff, but there's only been one other Action Comics #1. And it's like that, I think that sort of perspective on it of like, I've got to get back to like the what's at the center of this guy.
And it's so this is a really stupid thing for me to think, but I think the New 52 would have been a great idea if only it was good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
can you imagine how great it would have been if it had been good?
Like, because it is such an editorial shit show and cuts off the legs. Like, I think Grant Morrison Action Comics could have been like an all-timer run. But I feel like even by like issue 8, I'm starting to feel everything's starting to get pulled in different directions. He's now in that ugly cost. Like he switches the jeans and t-shirt for the like, they have to like fit it within the context of this is the first 5 years of his career versus what's happening. If you had just cleared the runway, if you had gone full reboot,
mm-hmm.
and said,
go nuts,
Grant, build us a Superman
for the 21st century
that is going to last us 75 more years.
Yeah.
I think they could have done it.
Yeah.
And it makes me almost mad that it like didn't take.
Well, I don't think we have time to get into the woulda, coulda, shoulda of that is potent.
But it's also hard. Like maybe some of this is Morrison's own writing though, because these first like 6 issues are that scrappy, grounded, I am standing up for the little guy, but then you like almost instantly get a Brainiac story.
Yeah.
And like I know that Grant is very attached to this concept of like Superman is what we are, but on a much grander scale.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish we just had the like runway of that like small. I want to build from smaller scale to bigger scale.
Yeah.
To go just from like this to now we're at this.
Yeah.
And now we're flashing back to Krypton. Like it's, and I think a lot of people have said this about Morrison's writing, where it's like, it's almost too much too soon. Like there's so many ideas they have that like,
yeah.
I want to spend a little bit of time with the ones and like nurture them.
Well, and there was a lot of talk about that, like from Grant in, like at the time, man, it's like, I could not have been more like neck deep in both, like at that time, just like it was, we were could not have just been more in the middle of all of that as far as like what I was paying attention to, what I was, we were like, Kurt and I were doing comics about it. We were like very wrapped up in it, but it was also like at the time, like I was, when I was doing stuff for Comics Alliance, like I was part of the sort of, bullpen of that, where it's like, we read every single first issue and like talked about them as a big group, like, and, in like chunks, as they were being released. And it was just like, and like we were hearing all kinds of things from like behind the scenes of this and that, and reading all these interviews. And it's like, things were just starting to be like, you're starting to have podcasts where people could talk about these things at length. And there was also like, still like, at least attempting to be like very like a serious attempt at comics journalism still happening, where people were trying to like, people were discussing this stuff and analyzing it and having like really intelligent, and insightful discussions about these things on like, oh Lord, there's a bunch of websites that don't exist anymore that were incredible for if you gave a shit about comics and like the what it takes to make them and like what goes into the thought processes and all this stuff. And not that there's not still great stuff like that now, but it's just the landscape is very different.
You never know you're in the golden days until they're gone.
Yeah, exactly. Even though it's like the comics are terrible. There's like so much of that stuff was such trash.
Yeah.
Which is great too, but it's like the good stuff remains. That's what like endures.
Yeah.
But like just being so like, we could not have been, I remember we heard the announcement, me and Kurt and Eugene driving back from Heroes Con, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Like was the day that the news broke that the new 52 was going to happen.
Oh man.
And we're like, this is back like still, this is like 2010 or something. And so it's like cell phone, we have smartphones, but they're like, it's very slow or whatever, it's like, we're trying to get this information as fast as possible. And it's like, just could not have been more in the feeling like in the trenches of that kind of, and just seeing how almost immediately you can see how this is all going to go off the rails.
Yeah.
But hearing Morrison talk about it back then and trying to address some of those things that you would look at it now and go, why didn't you just do this? Like, why didn't you just let them do this or that, or, fill in whatever blank you want? Why didn't you just, like you said, why didn't you just give Grant as much runway to do this for years and like establish something incredible, but it's like, there's all these corporate demands and there's all this behind the scenes stuff. There's like so much.
It is so weird for me right now that DC is like is like gallant to Marvel's Goofus. Well? Like it is like that has just not really been true for most of my comics reading life, where I can like, it's like that Simpsons thing where Marge is like, Bart, no, and Bart's standing next to her.
He's like, what?
He's like, I'm sorry, I'm just so used to it. That's just how I feel every day with like Marvel and DC right now. Where I'm like,
it's pretty wild how it's. I mean, and it's also always. This is like a whole other conversation. I love talking about this stuff with you. I just got to say, what's interesting to me is like trying to really see a clear bit, and maybe it would benefit me now to go back and reread those also, and see what it looks like to me. But I was just really like fascinated by the idea of like, what story do these three very different, but also like I would say, they all feel like Superman.
Yeah.
They all feel like a good representation of Superman, but they do all feel very different at the same time.
There are so few commonalities between them,
except for the fact that it's like, except for the Supermanness of it. Like they all sort of ring true. Superman rings true in all of them.
Yeah,
and it's like, but they seem like I would say that maybe Birthright and the Williamson stuff seem like more on the same page, because the action is like such a departure, and intentionally so.
Did they ever explain how, like, I know they said Birthright is now the canon origin. Did that ever,
I don't think that they ever officially,
I
mean, I know that they were treating it like that internally, sort of. And that was sort of like the thing that Mark Waid was saying, was that like in those Wizard magazine interviews back then.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like once Secret Origin came out, once Jeff Johns was in charge, he was like, no, my thing is the thing now. And it's going to be way more Superboy. And
well, I mean, so it was canon for 5 years, but also like, I don't know if it like, what is canon if nobody references it?
Yeah. I mean,
I know DC loves comics about comics so much. I didn't know if like 52 or something somehow like, I'm Superboy Prime. You and Lex were friends. Those little action figures.
I like. So your question is like, did they ever like try to reconcile the differences?
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious.
I think by the time you get to New 52, they had already forgotten all about it, because there was a point where it was like, Mark Waid was not doing anything at DC. He was like completely on the outs with them, sort of. And it's only been here in more recent years where it's like, and I wouldn't be surprised if like part of it to him is like, I don't look, I shouldn't speculate on Mark Waid's outlook on things. And I don't want him telling us. He better not.
Don't you dare. I'm going to be at Baltimore Comic-Con next to him tomorrow, and I'm just going to drive by the table and be like, don't you ever fucking call into my podcast.
But,
you know what I stealth really love from this era?
Can you be more specific on the era?
So,
this covers 25 years.
Immediate pre-New 52. Chris Robertson's what we thought was the final post-crisis Superman story, where he like pulled Grounded out of the tailspin that it was in.
Yes. I mean, yeah,
it was a real like, that is honestly one of the most impressive pieces of comic book writing to take Grounded and to not
and somehow salvage it.
It's completely like to salvage it, and then as you're doing that, to be told, oh, actually, this also has to be the final Superman issue ever.
Yeah. I don't want to.
It's amazing to me.
I have I think I have a personal relationship with Chris Robertson, so I don't want to be like too in the tank. But I think he's great. I love his writing. I felt like he did not get. I was legitimately pissed when all of that was happening, while I was both excited for him getting to write Superman, but at the same time being like absolutely red in the face, pissed off about how little credit, you know, just like how I felt like he was not being given enough due.
Yeah.
For what, being put in a very thankless position, I'll say. And having someone else still kind of be getting all of the attention and hogging all the glory, I'll say. You know, like talking about JMS.
Yeah.
And
I have an insanely hot take for you.
Oh, okay. Go on.
I think, and maybe just concept, maybe not the actual story itself, like the storytelling, but like the overall broad strokes, I prefer Robertson's closure of Post-Crisis Superman to Alan Moore's Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. Like, right. In terms of like where it leaves the character, in terms of like what it's like, the Fortress of Solidarity is a fucking come on, man. Superman has inspired so many people that in the future, the Fortress of Solitude is now the Fortress of Solidarity. Come on, that's fucking good.
So it's been since all of that came out that I've read it.
Yeah.
Because it was something where it's like, oh, I'm mad about this for someone who, like, not like we're, you know, best friends or anything, but especially like at the time, like we were, you know, there was a group of all of us that were, that knew, you know, like, I'm not trying to sound like I'm not trying to talk myself up. It was just good fortune that he, you know, that he happened to like, he happened to like me and Kurt and Eugene. And he helped us out and tried to put some even bigger things together for us that ended up not happening, but not from any fault of his. Yeah. Man, when I got approached to draw this Captain American Idol book for Rich Johnston for Boom.
Oh yeah.
The first people that I like, or, you know, two of the first people that I talked to about it were Chris and his wife at the time. And because I was like, hey, no, I've never seen a contract like this before. I was like, I don't know if this is okay. Will you guys look at this and tell me if this is all right or not? And they were like, oh, yes, of course. And like, they went through it and they were like, you need to say this, you need to say this, tell them they need to be like, they were literally telling me stuff like you need to tell them they need to pay you more than this. You need to do this. You need to blah, blah, blah. You need to tell them it should be at least this or blah, blah, you know, just stuff where I was like, I would not have known any of that.
Yeah.
Were it not for them. So I felt both not personally insulted, but I felt like mad about how that situation was. But it was also that it was like, Superman is somehow being used to like it just Superman being involved. If it was any other book, it wouldn't have felt as like, but I knew that was like a big deal to Chris to get to write Superman. And I don't know. So it's like, I haven't read that in a long time. So it's like, this clearly is something I need to go back and read. Also, it's like the way that things start, like, I hate that.
It's one of the worst.
So god awful, man. Just like what, and just like page after page of things where it's like, what are you talking about?
This is like exact opposite Superman.
Yeah, like just
Core 4 is out the window. He doesn't fly.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But I mean, just as like anyway, we can't talk about that.
Yeah,
but that does make me want to go reread it. So, and if anybody else wants to, I didn't even talk about the stuff that I've been reading. Besides getting caught up on that Williamson stuff, the other stuff I've been reading was I read the Superman Exile trade from like 1998, not the new big omnibus that came out recently or is about to come out or something, that's got both the Exile story and then like 600 other pages of stuff. This is just the Exile story, and it's actually like there's issues taken out of it where that from that time where it's like, but they don't really have anything to do with the Exile stuff, so it's taken out of there, so it was interesting but oh my god, I could talk about that thing. This is the first time I had read that in like as a full story in I don't know how long. It's like those are all like a bunch of those issues I had As you know, because when that originally came out, I was still like buying comics at the grocery store.
Yeah.
So it's like, I probably read it like all out of order and things like that. But I just had such a new appreciation for that whole story. But man, I don't think I'd ever. I talk about John Bogdanov a lot. I talk about, I love Jerry. I talk about Jerry Ordway. I talk about Dan Jurgens, but it's like, I don't think I've ever talked about Carrie Gamble.
Yeah.
And Carrie Gamble is incredible. Like just unbelievable. And like in issues sitting next to George Perez and Jerry Ordway. And I'm like, Carrie Gamble is amazing.
Yeah.
I think that what I'm going to do, I think that through reading this, what I have decided I'm going to do, because I already have a bunch of them, but I think I want to put together, like, get all of these single issues of basically from like Superman #1 in 86 or whatever, all of the Superman comics that come out after Man of Steel up until until they stop appealing to me.
Yeah.
So I don't have like a set cutoff.
Maybe the wedding.
Yeah, or somewhere in there where it's like, or to like. But the thing is like there's actually stuff after there's lots of stuff all throughout that period, all the way up until now, where it's like when I'm sitting there going through just all the issues, I'm going like, oh, I don't care about that. Don't care about that. Ooh, that one, where it's like, I have some, stuff like that. So I'm going, I think I'll start smaller.
Yeah.
But that's part of the thing. Speaking of DC Universe Infinite, my biggest gripe with that is that there are some issues that just aren't on there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've got the issue before it and the issue after it. What is it about this one for why you don't have it? Yep. Like, I need to know why this isn't on there, but I also want to read it. But yeah, so that Superman Exile trade is fantastic. And also I got up to issue 6 on Absolute Superman.
Oh, I need to catch up on that.
And it's also a thing where reading it month to month, I was not enjoying it as much as I did reading those first 6 issues all together.
It feels a little like the redheaded stepchild of the Absolute.
Yeah.
Trinity,
but
at least.
I think that it may kind of secretly end up becoming story-wise, possibly an MVP, at least in retrospect, when people are looking back at this. I mean, I'm only up to I've only read through 6, so I couldn't say.
I'm a big Aaron fan. I
see, that's the thing. Is like, I am also a big Jason Aaron fan, but I was like, him on Superman feels like it is not a good fit.
Yeah. Just
sort of like the way that he approaches character. And I didn't like those couple of issues he did of Superman. Was it Action?
Yeah.
Where it was like just those couple weird issues before where it was like with Bizarro and
I was
Joker. I was like, you just wanted to do Batman.
I was looking through the Action comics because I remembered them being like, oh yeah, this is the Superman Superstars, where we're getting the biggest creators to do 3 issues. And I think they did 2 and then gave up on that concept. And I was like,
it was like 2 or 3 or something. Yeah, but it's like,
because it's Gail Simone did an amazing trilogy.
Yeah. Which, and I believe that if I'm not terribly mistaken, that Gavin Guidry did art on some of that.
Oh.
I don't know if he'll be listening to this, but I know that he has listened to other episodes. And so if he is, hello, Gavin.
I'm going to pop by and say hi at Comic-Con.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Thank you for listening, and thank you for all the great Superman you've drawn. And I think I've talked about this before, but also it's like the picture he did of Superman and Dipper, my dog, is just, it couldn't be better.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that it's like, I guess maybe around Superman, Dipper would actually be this chill and just sweet looking. Dipper looks great. It looks very sweet in pictures, but he is a little gremlin in person. But I think around Superman, he'd be chill. But what was funny was like at the same time that I was like reading that and like reading this Absolute Superman was also, I was reading Batman Off-World, which nice. Jason Aaron is writing, which I loved. And I was going, I just don't know if you've got the right kind of mindset for Superman. But reading reading it not month to month, getting a better sense of where he's going with some of this stuff, I think, instead of like reading
so
one
many
issue.
modern comics that read better.
Yeah, I mean,
which I don't love, but you know, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, but anyway, so there's lots of good Superman stuff you can get into if you haven't read any of these comics, or if you haven't read any of them in a while. They're definitely worth checking out. I could do a whole episode just talking about Exile, like just going through all the story of that. Like, I don't know, how long has it been since you read that?
Not very long. I'm like in it right now.
Oh,
I stopped
okay.
reading it just because I had read through all of the Byrne stuff. I started going through the omnibus, but then when they announced that the omnibus that's like in between this and the first Triangle Era one was coming out, I was like,
right,
I kind of want to slow down so that I could just keep going straight into that and then into the Triangle, and like, if I do that, I can read all the way right into Death and Return of Superman, which would be so nice. Also, my daughter kept like, anytime I would be reading this giant book, she would come over and just start like flipping pages and yelling Superman on every page, which I love and is great, but it made it a little more difficult to port around, you know.
Understandable.
Single issues are a little easier to this stuff. Because then I could just hand her one and be like, okay, you read this,
I'll read this one. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, like this, now a bunch of this was, some of the stuff I'm reading it digital.
Yeah.
And reading on some of this stuff on DC Universe Infinite, and having that old trade, and then like some of these like single issues I've just been reading, it's really made me enjoy reading comics, like physical comics, more so than I had. I got to a point where I was going, I think I'm probably just going to get rid of all my comics. I can just read everything I can keep all of my comics on my iPad. There was like a point where I was going, I think this is going to be the way it goes, and it's like that has just really turned around for me in the last couple of years, but especially in this last year, where I'm just going, I am seeing so much more appeal in the holding a comic in my hand in a way that, like, I think it's even just the going, like, my brain registers that it's not a screen.
Yep.
Like the way that I think, like the way I look at it is literally different. I don't know.
I just love having them in a backpack and going into the woods and jerking off. Well, on that note, Chris, where can the people on the internet find you?
Oh boy, you can find me at the Chris Haley on Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky, and patreon.com/the Chris Haley. I'm woefully behind on doing anything on that I need to be doing, and I apologize. There's just so much stuff going on. It's a miracle if anything gets done, it feels like. Plus, I've got this musical I'm trying to write.
I'm so excited.
There's a lot going on, and it's but it's also like, it's fun to be, some of it is, stressful stuff, but it's also fun to have like so much stuff going on that I'm like, I don't even have time to get to some of this stuff. Plus, I'm reading all these Superman comics.
Yeah.
I guess I could like talk longer about them on any of those websites, on any of those social media places, or on Patreon or whatever. I guess I could do that, but I could write at length about my thoughts on them. But it's more fun talking to you.
I'll just call you. I'll call you more frequently than once every 3 weeks.
But yeah, so those are the places. Where can people find you?
People can find me at Jacob_DeNoble on Twitter and Letterboxd, and DeNoble at Blue Sky. MySummerWithSuperman.com is our website where you'll find show notes. We already talked about the Halloween pages. So
what's the email address?
Everything. The email address is mysummerwithsuperman@gmail.com.
Just in case anybody's got anything they need to correct us about, or yell at us about, or tell us we got exactly right. I'm happy to listen. If there's stuff,
if you've got those first two, don't email me. I don't need to.
I don't mind. I like hearing what people got to say. I'm into it. Regardless, you know what I mean? Like, I'm curious to see how. I mean, but it's been so cool that like it feels like we've gotten nothing but wonderful feedback from people.